The ultimate guilty pleasure. Okay.
Right, okay, start again. So we need a body, and I'm going to make my life easier from it. And I'm just going to delete pretty much the top of them, because I don't need that in the moment. Obviously, it depends how high you want your shoes to be. And then we're going to create a plane. And then we're just going to scale the plane so that it fits 1 foot. The good thing is you only ever have to mesh 1 foot, and then you just put it onto the other foot. So scale X and scale Y until it kind of has foot size. Oops. Right. So now add the modifier subdivision surface 2. And if I then go to edit mode, what I can do is I can go to tools, loop, cut and slide, and make some usually where it curves. And then what I can do is I can just drag my verts inward, upward, straightward to make a shoe shape. Sometimes it helps to import an image of a shoe sole and copy that instead. So that would just be like, you go to here and you just say, where's it go? Background image, when I can find it. Background image, and add an image. And just follow that.
So a good image to have would be the soles of the shoe and the sides and the top?
That makes it a lot easier. That's how I did the wellies.
I see.
But yeah, if you just want to, I'm just showing you, this is just the method, not the exact way to do it. So yeah, just kind of make a sole of the shoe that kind of fits the feet. They have really weird feet, so I usually try to keep the front bit a bit more straight, because I don't know why, I find it looks weird otherwise. Like their feet bend like an S shape for some really weird reason. Usually try to keep a good rim around the foot. Okay, when you've made a shoe shape-ish, sole shape, what I usually do is I will select these 3 edges and I will press Shift D to duplicate them, and then press E and extrude them upwards. And then I will select the upper ones and just press F. You see, you get like a little, I'm just gonna...
The top part.
Yeah, I just need to flip the direction of this so it's actually grey. And then literally what I do is I will maybe stretch that out, and then I'll just go to 3, and then I'll just go to extrude, and maybe select that edge and make it higher. And then literally all I do is using loop, cut and slide, so like I can say loop, cut and slide here, and then maybe move these down a bit more if I want more this shape.
Because I was about to ask, how are you going to edit the middle parts and stuff? I see.
Yeah, and then again, these bits you can then move inwards to fit the shape of the shoe. Yeah, and then I literally just spend hours and hours and hours moving a shitload of verts and shaping this stuff to fit the foot. And when I'm done, like when I'm done, like I've completely and utterly shaped the entire thing. Obviously, like if I want a normal shoe, then I will do the same here, and so I'll go like this, Shift D, and then extrude them. The reason I'm duplicating them is if I just extrude them straight away, it won't give me a sharp edge here. It'll like curve the edge and that'll look weird. And then here, obviously, make the basic shape you want, and then add some loop, cut and slides too.
Mold the middle parts.
Yeah, so pretend this is a nice shoe.
Okay, pretending.
Okay, and let's just flip this part. So yeah, spend hours doing that. And then what I'll do is when I'm literally finished meshing, I will probably duplicate this mesh. So I still have the one that has the modifier applied. And then I'll apply my modifier. And then what I'll do is I'll do the typical thing, you know. And
magnet, and then snapping the verts together.
yeah. Here I don't need to really, pay much attention yet to. If you want to get a nice curve here and it's not here, then you can select that edge and say W subdivide, and it'll give you a vert in the middle.
Oh, I see.
So that I can touch it there. Oh yeah, this one there needs to go there, just to fill up the rim, whatever. Obviously do it a bit neater, do it around the front. And then go to Object, Apply, Rotation and Scale. And then usually, because you've worked on it like this, you can just go like this and say unwrap, and it'll unwrap it pretty good
so
already.
then it gives you a sort of mesh on the right side.
Yeah, it gives you the UV map.
UV, yeah.
So then obviously you'll have to twist it so it's the right, rotated the right way up. So when you add textures, it doesn't look like shit. So this bit will be like this, because it's the front of the shoe, and the sole of the shoe will be upwards, so like that.
I see.
And then obviously UV map it. But literally all I do is use this subdivide modifier to give me like round edges and extrude it. So if I open, let me open the... Right, so these are the welly boots. Now, if I go all the way to the top, nope. You'll see this is my welly mesh with the subdivision surface modifier on it. So you'll see this is literally what I did. So for like this bit at the top, I took this rim, so I'll just do it again at the top, and so I was like extrude, and I extruded it upwards, and then I said extrude and scaled it, and then I extruded it upwards again, and extruded it and scaled it.
Border thingy.
Yeah, and that makes the border thingy. So yeah, it ended up looking like this at the end.
If I had an image and I wanted to use the image as a base, how would that look like in Blender?
Looks like this, so open image, done. Know the name of these. Okay, so this is a bit big. They're usually really big. So what I did for this one is I started with the sole. So I don't know which image is which, they just have the name RT for some reason.
You have a lot of pictures.
So if you see, annoyingly though, then it didn't fit the shoe, the foot of the kid. So literally, you just kind of have the image, scale it to fit the image, and then all I did was move the verts until I could see the image. Obviously I had to redo it then afterwards because it didn't fit the foot, because feet on Sims are way fatter. But yeah, literally I was left with this, and when I was done, I did the same thing. I applied the modifier.
It's a giant shoe.
And then I had these weird bits at the bottom that weren't round, so what I did here was just deleted the verts along here. Where I didn't like them, and moved them inwards to make them a bit more round. And then you can just select two edges and always just press fill.
Okay.
So I just ended up filling in the weird bits. Okay. And then obviously this part as a welly doesn't have obvious parts to UV map. So what I did was I selected a rim that I wanted to use, like this rim. And I said Control E and said mark seam. And then I marked the seam along the back. Control E, mark seam, and then I unwrapped it. pretty much. So I just went A, U, unwrap. And you'll see, piece of crap. I kind of got this. Obviously, this bit didn't exist because I'd have fixed the back part, which also had some... So yeah, and then what I did was just check out the kid's foot, and then just use sculpt, smooth, and like, you know.
To make it work, make it fit. Okay, cool.
Well, also to make it smoother, because I had some really harsh rims, because it wasn't that good. Like this bump at the front and stuff like that. I just ended up smoothing most of it.
How did you make the laces?
The laces on the other shoes, those are
the
just...
canvas shoes?
Oh, okay. Turn on my shoes. It's a Bezier curve.
Okay, I'm going to pretend I understand what this is.
I literally only did this once, and then I used this lace for absolutely everything, because it was a pain in the butt to make. So literally, you just go to add curve, Bezier curve, and you get this. And then you can say here in curve, you can say full, and up the bevel depth and up the resolution to get it like circular.
Okay.
And then you can just rotate these curves and move these curves and literally build a bow. This is why it took me so long, and then you can extrude it, and then you have another curve part, and then you have to build a 3D bow. And when you're done, you can...
a lot of work.
Yeah, that's why I always use this one. And if people are like, "How do you make bows?" I'm like, "Just use mine." Then I go, "Okay." Or spend hours doing it if you want. And then at the end, all you have to do is press Alt-C, and it says mesh from curve. So you can literally go like that, and then it converts it into a mesh.
Oh, okay.
And then you
now
can go...
move birds around.
Yeah, you can Alt-select that and just press F to fill it. The edges. So that's pretty much all I did.
I see. Okay, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, especially these knot parts at the bottom are like a freaking nightmare. But that's also if I open shoe A, nope, open B, yeah. That's like these parts were also just a Bezier curve. So,
and then you just like molded them?
This, you can see this was my shoe base. Yes, I just molded them. I just made the curve. I'm trying to find... I saved these curves. I didn't save the curves.
What's the ideal poly count for shoes?
Same as everything else.
I see.
So 10,000 for both sides, so 5,000 for one side. What's kind of cool is... I'll just show you a cool trick. Because like this doesn't have the holes on the side. So what you can do is you can say create a cylinder. Scale it down like hell, because everything's always so big in Blender. And then just move and rotate your cylinder, so it's kind of like a hole where you want the hole to be. Let's see if I can remember this. Okay, and then you go to modifier, and you say add modifier. Wait, I'll get there. Displace, I think. Nope, wasn't that one. Boolean. And then difference. And then this is cube 02, so you'll tell it to say cube 02. And apply. And now if I move... Oh, it didn't work. Okay. Okay, maybe I think it's this. Oh yeah. I've got to do... So you've got to select the one that you want the hole to be in. And you say Boolean. And then you select your cylinder. Which is cylinder... Just... Which one is it? Wait a minute. Cylinder 1. So I'll select cylinder 1. And I'll say difference. And I'll press apply. And now hopefully it'll do it. And now if I hide the cylinder... Why is it not doing it?
You did something else.
I think... What? did it for the other times.
Maybe it doesn't work in object mode. Or I don't know.
Oh, there it is. This has a really low poly count because it was still on the thing, but it pretty much... Let's try it. I got a different one. Okay. We'll just take the cylinder and put a hole in the mesh somewhere else. Oops, where did it go? Okay, I'll just... Why is it being a weirdo?
Maybe it's in the other... Okay, it's not.
Yeah, exactly, that's what I was thinking. I was like, why does it keep disappearing as if it's going somewhere? Oh, it's got a modifier on it. That's why. We'll just take this one that doesn't have a modifier on it. Okay. So much effort. Okay.
Just for a hole.
So this is called cylinder 1. So Boolean, cylinder 1, difference, apply. And there you go. I cut a hole into it.
Mm-hmm.
So literally for these, I made a torus. So I took a torus, which is this, to make these loopholes.
Okay.
And then use the cylinder to cut like a hole into the torus. So you'll see if I put this cylinder on. Nope. Nope. Okay, maybe not. But yeah, that's how I did the holes on my shoes.
Oh, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, and then you've got to do all the like reduced poly count and UV mapping, and the UV is really small, so your textures are really small. And it took me like 4 hours to do the textures on the wellies because I open them. Nope, it's moccasins. Like this is the welly shape.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't even draw a straight line along anything because everything's curved.
Yeah.
So it ended up being a pretty big nightmare to add texture.
So it depends on the shoes. And shoes seem like a challenging thing to do.
They are. Because you spend like hours just trying to shape them, and then they have like here, there's a weird bump here, or there's a weird bump here. Oh, it's just really annoying.
So if any part of the shoe goes below that plane, that means in game it'll be below ground. Is that correct?
Yeah. If you press 1 on your... So, I don't know if you know this, but in Blender you always press 5 in the middle. That gets the view to flat view on your numpad.
I see.
And then if you press 1, you're looking at it from the front. If you press 3, from the side. And if you press 7, from the top. And if you press 4, you go around in circles.
Okay.
So if you press 1 or 3, anything below like the red line is going to kind of be underground.
In the game, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
But some people do that on purpose, right? If they want, like, for example, heels, and then you put it on OMSP. Something like that.
Well, when people make heels, they'll take...
Because you know how some shoes, some high heels are, like, below ground?
That's just badly made high heels.
I see. Okay.
So usually when people make high heels, someone was smart enough to take the foot mesh, so they took the foot, the adult foot, and they tipped the feet to already be in a heel shape.
Oh, okay. I see.
And then they just added heels to it. So they already have like a base EA mesh where the feet are already in a heel shape. That's actually the smarter way of doing it, because then it won't go underground.
I see. Okay. Got it. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, shoes are a nightmare.
But they're cool, though. They're like my ultimate guilty pleasure.